Hey guys, HuzzyGames bringing you another video. Now, welcome to another Challenge to Spectate. Now, today we are watching one of the best Wukong players on EU West. Noticing as well, he is going mid. Now, if memory serves correct, or like knowledge serves correct, I guess, Wukong got his rework, and that's why we're checking him out. But since his rework, he has already received a hotfix. Like, already. He was a little bit too broken in a few areas, namely how much damage he was dealing. So he has been toned down. But this game was played, I'm looking at the time and everything, after the rework. And what it looked like, by the way, they were trying to fix was maybe to not let Wukong go mid, but this guy is still playing it mid. I think that's probably where Wukong wants to be, by the way, is mid lane. Top lane, I just don't see the champion being that strong in top lane. Jungle, I think he's a bit too slow. Mid lane, if you build him the hyper kind of aggressive kind of assassin build, I think that's his best position. And, you know, he's against an Aurelia here. Aurelia is my kryptonite champion. I think everybody knows that. So it'll be interesting to see how he does against Aurelia. If he's going to look for fights early, can he kill the Aurelia and all that good stuff. So you can already notice that he isn't wanting to go anywhere near. Like, already probably feels like cannot go near this Aurelia, not risking it, etc. And worth noting, just to kind of talk about this player a bit, obviously is a Wukong one-trick with the name Divine Wukong, with the clan tag Wookie. But is like, this is a legitimate one-trick player. Has, whoa, all in by Aurelia, going for a tower dive, and just Wukong gets owned. So that was pretty bad, but that does just show Aurelia has insane strengths to this day, I believe. But yeah, has 302 Wukong games already this season with a 55% win rate. That's a very impressive win rate for 300 games. But obviously, do remember, I've said it for ages, you can be attached to a champion fully, and if Riot just decide we're changing this champion, well, it could screw you as a player if that's all you play. When I say he's a legitimate one-trick, 302 Wukong games, 3 Renekton games with a negative win rate and negative KD. 3 Tristana games, all of them were losses. 2 Alistar games, 2 Lucian games. Like, this is, if you looked up the term one trick, this player would come up. They play one thing. So let's just see what happens. So he did get to level 2. Farm-wise, obviously, he's going to be behind now. You know, the farm's like, oh, he's only 3 behind. Meanwhile, double kill in top lane, not good for red team. But look at all this farm. If Aurelia can get most of this, which again, Aurelia is one of the best champions for last hitting because of her Q. Again, there's no skill to that. You just press Q on a low hit minion. Voila. Yeah, so she's going to get miles ahead in XP. She's now double the Wukong's farm. And look where Wukong's going. He is going back. So far, this game, you might be like, Huz, why did you pick this game? This isn't going very well. Some people have asked recently to show games that aren't stomps from the beginning of the game. So if that was you, there you go. We're trying to do it. You can see Wukong doing a bit of damage there. But yeah, this game is definitely not a stomp at the beginning of the game. But I also know that Wukong's strength of like where I've kind of looked at it, and I've seen a couple Wukongs here or there now, is practically mainly in his ultimate. So if you guys don't know the changes, I guess we can go through them fundamentally. And hell, there's going to be some people watching that probably have never seen a Wukong before because nobody plays this champion because he's pretty weak, and maybe now people might play him because of the update, but to be honest, probably not that many people even will, because he's, again, fundamentally the same champion. But basically, his abilities. The Q is when you see him, his spear, or whatever the hell, his staff, when you see it kind of go long range and whack down, that's his Q. It does give him extra range, and it gives him an empowered, basically, auto-attack. And I think it's new. Before, it used to be a flat range buff. So you press Q, and you got a little bit extra distance for your next auto-attack. Now, that range actually scales per level. So if you have a rank 5 Q, it actually goes longer distance than rank 1 by quite a fair margin. His W is the clone. So if you ever see like 2 Wukongs, think of it as kind of like a mini Shaco clone. So it is a Wukong, and it's there to kind of confuse the enemy. It does more than it ever used to. Meanwhile, Aurelia going aggressive actually goes on the wrong Wukong. She's just going to go straight for a dive, nearly kills him again, has to flash away. But nowadays, or the old Wukong, used to press W, it gives you an invisibility, and then put your own Wukong, it just, you know, made it stationary, and it span and did some damage. The new clone, it does give you a little bit of a dash, which it never used to. It still gives you a 1 second invisibility, but now the clone actually copies your ultimate. which I'll come back to. Your E is, I think, fundamentally the same. It like is a dash to like do a bit of AoE, I think, on 3 targets. And then your ultimate is the big you know, blade runner, whatever the hell, blade top, Beyblades, that's the one, spinning ball of death. But that also has been changed, that before, the spin used to last 4 seconds. It now only lasts 2 seconds, but you can cast it twice. So 4 seconds in total, but you can cast it twice. And I believe get 2 knockups. Meanwhile, Elise gets a kill on the set, which is good. But I believe you can get 2 knockups with it on the same target. But as we were saying earlier, coming back to it, the clone also does the ultimate. So you, in essence, can cast your ultimate on Wukong at one side of the team fight, and if your clone is at the other side of the team fight, you can cover the whole team fight with, like, spinning Wukong. And now, obviously, the clone, when it's ulting, doesn't do as much damage as actual Wukong, but it's still a fair amount. But that is fundamentally his update. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. Just thought I'd get that out of the way while we're in lane phase, because nothing crazy is happening so far. Echo's popping off. Again, a jungler that I would actually very recommend either playing if you're a jungler yourself or banning out. It's very rare to see an Echo do bad, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think the champion right now is just extremely strong and relatively easy to play. So you combine those things together, you're probably going to have a fed Echo a lot of games. Relia may look for a dive, doesn't go for it in the end, is going for it. Like what? Again, that isn't, by the way, even just Wukong being weak. That's just Aurelia. Like, I've said it for ages, dude. Aurelia's nuts. And yes, that's a 2-level advantage for Aurelia with Ignite and Ultimate and everything. But, like, she has just controlled this lane the whole game. And the funny thing is, you ask a Rioter or whatever that did the... But she's going for a dive? She just killed... Oh, my God. Guys, we're doing an Aurelia replay today. Jesus Christ. But yeah, if you ask, sorry, any of like the people that did the rework of Aurelia or Aurelia players, what type of champion is Aurelia? Yeah, she's a mid to late game champion. Is she though? Like, that's what she's supposed to be. Hell, she like beats everything in lane early. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, to me, it needs to be toned down a bit, because again, her scaling is crazy good too. So just to put in perspective the item difference at the moment, Aurelia, Blade of the Ruined King, Wukong, Longsword. Oof. So just keep that in mind, dude. Wukong's having a pretty rough game. Nothing crazy good going right now. The Aurelia looks near enough unstoppable. Wukong trying to get away. He's going to get dove again. Has ultimate, but just to escape. She does finally get killed. Nice little counter gank there by Elise with the double knockup, by the way. You just saw it. He had his ult, knocked her up. It stopped. He ulted again, and that's what helped him get a kill alongside the Elise. Unfortunately, now for the Wukong, this is a time that you're like, oh, I can try and catch up in farm. Nope, because the Echo is there to cover. You know, really aggressive. It's like they're trying to shut down this Wukong a crazy amount, and Wukong does die. Now, I understand this Wukong's frustration. People are like, why didn't he just go back? It's so hard for him mentally to be like, oh, I have to go back right now because of how much he's been denied. He's not catching up in any gold. He has to try and get some farm. And yeah, like he has to try and just overstay and stay under his tower. And then there's an Echo. And it's like, ugh. So Echo probably is going to die. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a kill. It will be, just probably like a second or two before that was going to be a kill reset. So far, definitely, at least in lane phase, I think most of us can agree, Wukong, at least in this game, has nothing on this Aurelia. Now, one thing some people like me doing, let's have a little look at the Aurelia player, because just to keep in mind, this is a Challenger EU West Wukong one trick. So of all people to like be good at the champion, you'd think this guy would be good again. Good. But is it because they're against a one-trick Challenger Aurelia? Well, let's find out. Because I'll say right now, if this is a random Aurelia player, a random player that doesn't play Aurelia, then you know something's happened. Now, meanwhile, top lane double kill for Sion. Really good. Aurelia actually, by the way, goes down. She was there too. Which opens up the Wukong to finally get a bit of farm, finally get a tower plate or two, which is really good. Echo even going top lane as well. I'll check the Aurelia in a second. Echo gonna maybe does get the kill. Sion on the back foot, doing a lot of damage for a tank as he always has done. And yes, Wukong getting a bit of farm and some tower plates. That's good for him. But let's have a little look. The Aurelia. So there we go. Okay, so this is a weird one. This Aurelia is a smurf. I know that sounds weird to some people. This is definitely a challenger smurf. They do exist, by the way. This person this Aurelia is challenger right now. And by the way, it could be a pro for all I know. I have no idea. They're in challenger right now with less than 200 games played on a fresh account. It's a level 46 account. So that means they entered ranked as soon as they could at level 30, and then they've got to level 46 by just playing 200 games of ranked. But they have... God, that's just insane. Meanwhile, Wukong going for it with his W, gets his first ultimate, going to go for his second ultimate any second. There's the double knock-up, gets himself a kill. So this is maybe where Wukong can try and recover the game. Is Rome, he can't take on the Aurelia. Sion even going for it, by the way, maybe going for a tower dive, just gets the knock-up, lovely. Wukong, by the way, is going back to mid lane. But yeah, just to explain this Aurelia player, they have, in total, can I see their overall win rate? Is that something that I can't see? Maybe I can't. Anyway, dive's happening. She just straight up murders the Lucian under the tower. Wukong can't now get to her. He did blow his own ignite, unfortunately. But, oh, there we go. 197 games played this Aurelia has in solo queue. 72% win rate. And they're in Challenger. They're Challenger 800 LP right now on EUS. This Aurelia player is a monster. On Aurelia... They're the best EUS Aurelia player, naturally. They've got 69 games of Aurelia. So it is an Aurelia main, by the way. Aurelia is their most played by more than double. And they have a 65% win rate on Aurelia. But worth knowing, they've got 27 games on Echo with a 75% win rate. They've got 18 games on Kiana, 89% win rate. So this whoever this Aurelia player is, they're insanely good. Like, what the hell? So yeah, this Wukong, obviously he's still getting used to the Wukong update. Is he going to get away? Nope, he's going to die too. Unfortunately for him, he gets ganked at the wrong time. So this game, this is an uphill battle 100%. And remember, I do replays for a specific reason. And yeah, we haven't gone for a stomp one this time on purpose. But it does mean that the Wukong should become useful at least this game. Meanwhile, Kai'Sa goes down. Aurelia making her way to the fight. I think she has ultimate up. No, she does not. And red team need to punish this as much as they can. Aurelia doesn't have it. If you notice, by the way, the Sion is trying to get involved. Why is he trying to get involved? Well, the set is 0-4. The set's had a pretty rough game. So the Sion having a good game feels the need that it's my responsibility to try and do something about this. Now, one thing that I would say, and is potentially happening now, you've had the Wukong that's been owned. You've had the set that's been owned. So what potentially should happen is the Wukong should go against the set. In theory, Wukong shouldn't die. He's actually going aggressive on the set, by the way. Not sure if Wukong can get this kill. Let's have a look. He does have a second ultimate available. He's going to go whoop, whoop, whoop. He's going to try to do more. Set is nearly dead. So, yeah, Wukong had the strength to definitely kill the set there. So that is the call. Put the Sion against the Aurelia, which is still risky because she's got Blade of the Ruined King. But you'd think Sion would have more survivability. And then put Wukong against the set. That might actually give Wukong a bit of a break from the Aurelia because he's just going to keep dying to her over and over and over again. But you've also got to be careful now of this potential overstay because with no flash and everything, with Blade of the Ruined King for the Aurelia, with her Q, like the dash, Wukong will be dead if he does overstay a little bit too much. Set is now teleporting back to top lane. But yeah, so maybe I'll do... By the way, maybe I'll look for a replay from this Aurelia player and watch an Aurelia game from her perspective. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments and liking the video. Because honestly, this Aurelia might be one of the best solo queue players statistically that I've ever seen. 72% win rate in 200 games on a fresh account. Like... Do they have a negative win rate on anything? They've got a slight negative win rate on Silas. That's it. Jesus. Anyway, red team going to be getting a couple picks here. Echo coming in a bit late to the fight. Is going to get... Oh, Sion, lovely Q there. That did a bunch of saving. Thresh misses his hook, unfortunately. Wukong going to go top. Set obviously doing a flank. Sion is going to go now down as well. A little bit of overstay. And Set gives himself a double kill, which is going to help him quite a lot recover in this game. So this game is kind of the story of Sion beat the set with the Elise. Elise went top lane quite a bit. The Aurelia just straight up murdered the Wukong and did really well. So can Set recover? Can Wukong recover? Which one of them can make a bigger impact? You know, worth noting, we've spoken about it already a bunch. This, you know, but Twitch Rivals is upcoming. I'm playing top lane, as I've mentioned a few times already. What am I playing in Twitch Rivals? Meanwhile, Set's going to get caught, misses his W, and goes... He ults the clone! Oh, Set ults the clone from Wukong. That was not the real Wukong. Will Wukong get the kill? Nope, the little bit of healing. They are also... Oh, worth noting... What's happening here, by the way? Why is there a ward on the Thresh Lantern? That is called blocking. Lantern blocking. It is an actual thing, by the way. Basically, in order to take a lantern, what do you have to do? You have to click it, right? You have to right-click it. You go zoop zoop in the lantern away. If you block it by making other things clickable, that, you know, it's basically layering things on top of the lantern. So as a player, you no longer can click the lantern easily. You're in effect blocking the person using the lantern. The most effective way to do it is throw a ward on it. Like, throw a control ward on it. And 99% of the time, you are blocking that lantern and they can't use it. So, yeah, again, a lot of people may not know about that, but it's an actual thing. So if you ever see pro play especially, why do they keep throwing control wards on the Thresh Lantern? Now you know why. Blocking, baby. Alright, Taric might be getting caught. Echo's got no mana. At least going to go for a cocoon. Taric a little bit too cocky, I believe, and he's going to go down. Sino going for it all. Hits the wall, unfortunately. Lucian coming for a flank. Echo had no mana and does end up dying. So, a little bit of Fiesta game. Wukong, again, having a pretty rough performance. I don't know officially how this game, like, kind of ends. I'm just going to check one thing before, like, without spoiling too much for me personally. Okay. I was just having a little look at the damage. Oh, wait, that's the wrong game. Let me look at the actual correct game. Well done, me. Is that the right game? This is the right game. Anyway, catch happening. Set gets caught. Aurelia going for a flank, but a 3v1, Aurelia has the damage probably to take on people, but does she have the survivability? That's a whole different, you know, question. Probably not. If she gets CC'd, she's just going to get bursted. Wukong actually going to look for the Aurelia because she could have been waiting in this bush. Enemy team, sorry, red team pushing their advantage. And let me look up what I was going to. Okay. Okay, so Thresh Lantern, going to go for the Taric. He isn't dead yet. Aurelia ultimate going to be doing big damage. Thresh goes down. Stun happening. No one gets stunned. Sign coming for a TP. Pretty late. Cocoon re-engaging. Lucian going to do a bit of damage. Wukong gets the kill. Can he go for the Taric? Doesn't get the Q. Was tanking the tower. Sign now backing out. Was tanking as well. They're going to re-engage. Sign a little bit too slow with his flash. Echo with his, you know, pressure, I guess. So I'm going to go for the back foot. They should re-engage on the Echo. Look how alone they are with relatively low health. Wukong going to go for it. Doesn't go for it fully. Has ultimate very soon in 1 second. Any second, can he go for an ultimate? Uses his clone to get away for now. That, by the way, I believe is Taric ultimate because, again, the replay files are bugged and animations are like half not working. But that was a bit of a fiesta. No Wukong ultimate in that fight, which potentially could have made things very interesting or a little bit different. But yeah, very good so far. So the Echo, by the way, has now started taking over like the MVP slot, you'd say, in this game. Before, at the beginning, it was Aurelia. Aurelia was just owning, crazy, amazing. She's still obviously doing fine, but you're seeing Aurelia struggle a little bit with actually like team fighting, right? And she's naturally going to. You know, she's a melee champion that has, you know, has to use her auto attacks quite a lot. So if you just group up and CC her, she can't do that much. Like Wukong is kind of in the same category, but at least Wukong can press his ultimate and start spinning everybody in the air. Aurelia can't do that. So there are, like, sometimes an argument that, you know, as an Aurelia, her weakness, yes, her strength arguably is 1v1ing, but her weakness is grouping. Like, yeah, she can get a 5-man stun, but how often is that going to happen? Not very. So you can see the Aurelia is starting to struggle more, but the Echo is just starting to get absolutely fed. As we mentioned earlier, I legitimately do think this champion is just way too strong. And either play or pick him. Play or ban the champion, sorry. He's just... It's nuts. I can't remember the last time that I had a feeding Echo on my team or the enemy team. He's just absolutely insane. And again, not trying to offend people, he's not hard to play either. Like, oh god, I made a mistake. I press R and I'm safe. See you later. Ta-da! Like... And I'm one-shotting everything. And his E, by the way, is a latching dash, which means someone can flash it, but if you press it at the right time, you're still hitting it. So I'm going to get a bit caught. Again, he will go down if he's getting whacked completely. Wukong going to go aggressive, gets unfortunately exhausted, which is going to hurt his damage a lot. But he goes for his double ultimate. He's going to go really aggressive. Does get the Aurelia more or less by himself when it comes to damage. Taric goes down as well because the Wukong really nicely, and that's again a bit of a difference between the Wukong and Aurelia, I guess, is Wukong with his big spin stopped the Echo doing damage that fight. Aurelia didn't do that, right? So that is something that Wukong definitely has going for him, which I like. And now we're starting to see the strength of Wukong is a lot about his teamfight ultimate. Like that's what it's about. And nowadays that he's got 2 of them, that, you know, he can reposition, get a double knock-up. Double knock-up's a big deal, but also his clone can do knock-up, so you can cover more space. That, to me, is where this Wukong rework, update, whatever the hell you want to call it, that's where this is pretty good. In terms of, like, his damage scaling, his damage is good, but this game, he's just been outshined. You know, I'm sure if I could see this same player find a different replay where he gets really fed in the early game and snowballs. I'm sure that exists. But this game, I wanted to do a game where the Wukong struggled, that it wasn't a stomp. This game, technically, look at the gold. The blue team right now is still leading the gold. They're still ahead. But we've always spoken about it in the past. There is such thing as momentum. In League of Legends and in video games and in sport, whatever you want to call it, momentum is a big deal. So if one team is ahead like by 5,000 gold, well, in late game, the gold lead doesn't mean as much because everybody's getting more and more items. If one team's got a 20,000 gold lead, but everybody's got all 6 items, well, that gold lead doesn't mean anything because everybody's already completed all their items, right? So now the game is getting later. The gold lead doesn't matter as much. What matters is the momentum of, oh snap, we just killed a few people. Oh snap, we're getting all the dragons. Oh, we're going to kill them and then get Baron. It doesn't, like, that's kind of what you're wanting for. Mentality, you know, mental and stuff. That's what you're looking for. So unfortunately, I don't know why they just waited in a bush. They kind of just waited to die. We're going to go for engage. Just absolutely rinses them. That was a lot of Wukong damage. Hello. And he has now got his Black Cleaver completed, obviously. That's a big, big damage item for a lot of Bruiser champions in League right now. Again, so much so, I'm not a big fan of the item build. I've already had a lot of people ask me the question, what do I think of the Triforce Black Cleaver build? I don't like it. I guess it makes sense because just both of the items are insanely strong right now. But I don't know if I'd be building it myself. I just find it a bit weird. But that's because I'd say it's happening because Black Cleaver and Triforce, respectively, are both really strong. So for some champions that want both of the items, they're just building both. Aurelia getting caught, potentially nice Scion Q, nice into the hook. And again, Aurelia in a grouping situation is really squishy. Unfortunately, Lucian gets a little bit sloppy with his positioning, is going to go down. Scion, unfortunately, doesn't get his Q off. Wukong going to go for it, doesn't have ultimate up, and now is on the back foot. That was Taric ultimate, by the way, and they're just going to die. So, yeah, this game, far from over. Red team making a bunch of mistakes. They do get a nice little kill in return, though. That might stop them doing Baron, question mark. Especially if you can kill the Echo. Elise now doing her best. She actually will probably get all of these people, by the way. This Elise is really strong. Arguably the strongest person on red team. Set going to do his best to try and survive. Doesn't do so. Triple kill now for the Elise. And, you know, jungling arguably is the strongest role right now. Most important role. If you guys watched the Twitch Rivals draft, where all the EU captains, like including myself, if it was actually kind of funny of like how many of the captains were kind of BMing other roles. So we had hosts talking to us, be like, right, Huzzy, it's your time to pick a player. What are you going to go for? Are you going to go for jungle? Are you going to go for whatever? And I'd be like, yep, I'm going to go for AD carry first, which I was the first player, I think, the first captain to go for AD carry first, but it's because I got Yamato Cannon. That was like just big brain move, get a good like coach analyst as our AD carry player. But I think most of the captains jungling. Everybody took their jungler first because it was like, yep, jungle is the most important role right now. It's usually where the biggest difference in the game is. So most people went jungle, and then I'd say at least half of the captains made jokes about how top lane is irrelevant and how support doesn't matter. Like, it was like, ew. So everybody picked their, like, well, half of the captains are top laners, so, you know. Echo doesn't get the steal, unfortunately for him. Nice attempt, though. Really good smite by the Elise. Wukong now, where is the Wukong? He is going for the set, unfortunately, where this is the bigger bulk of the fight. Wukong now going to go for the Aurelia alongside the Scion, and they do together take down the duo. So worth noting, just to kind of explain, that was good because that was the top laner against the top laner, and that was the mid laner against the mid. So that was a 2v2, what you'd call a fair 2v2, roll by roll, a fair 2v2, and they come out on top. So the actual sheer AoE capability that Wukong has, especially combining with other teammates like a Scion, works really, really, really well. So Wukong now going to finish the Kai'Sa off. gets himself a kill, and now you can start to see the game has 100% shifted. Now, it has shifted for a couple of reasons. Weirdly, even though this Echo has had a great game, the one thing, and we literally were just speaking about it, the one thing that was different from the beginning, even though this Aurelia was stomping, even though bot lane, I think, was actually going okay for the enemy team in the early game, the Elise kept up dragon control. Like, objective control, yeah? So even though the Echo's fed, so is the Elise, but the Elise has got every dragon. So the Dragon Soul is for now red team, and that is now something, and I can't stress the point enough, and I say it as much as I can in commentaries, that is something now that the blue team cannot catch up with. Those buffs, a mountain, so 6% resistances, 4% attack damage and AP, and then 5% ocean dragon buffs, then plus the soul, all of that stuff the enemy team literally doesn't get. Anyway, Wukong now actually going to look for the 1v1. Does he do it? Isn't now going to go for the one. Oh! Wukong baited the Aurelia! She ignited his clone! So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That does show that the clone is pretty effective. That Aurelia used Ignite on Wukong clone. That's good to see, man. So I will say the new Wukong clone is a lot better than the old one. Not just because it does his ultimate. He actually does auto attack too. So, you know, a lot of clones, or like the kind of the dumb clones in League, they just kind of stand there and like, I'm the fake one. The better clones actually do things to trick people. Like LeBlanc's clone just runs in a direction. It can occasionally catch people out. Meanwhile, Set getting caught. So Wukong's clone now, Wukong's clone auto attacks and stuff, people nearby. So it definitely can, because after Wukong presses W, he goes invisible for a second. It can trick people, especially now that he is auto-attacking things. The old Wukong clone literally just stood there like a lemon and then just span after like a second. The new one actually is more effective and active. Wukong going to be on the back foot. Is he going to die to the tower? Nearly does go down. Doesn't in the end, though. They're going to maybe look to finish the game, and that does look to be it. So Wukong does finish this game on a positive KDA. Damage-wise, I will say, and that's what I was looking at earlier, Wukong finished third most damage on his team. Naturally, the Elise did the most on his team. Sion came in second, just, then the Wukong, then the Lucian. And worth also noting, the Wukong beat the Aurelia's damage. In total damage done to champions in this game, the Wukong beat the Aurelia's. And if you look in the end, Aurelia, even though she was a god, and I definitely want to maybe do a replay of this player, 4-8, negative KD, versus 7-6, positive KD. Yes, she has 50 far more, but that does show the difference of champion. That if a Wukong is struggling, well, he's still useful. He has his knockups. That is a forever useful thing, and it's a relatively easy ability to land. I stand in middle, I press R, and go spin. Aurelia is a bit more, I'd say, skillful based to land a big stun, or to get that ultimate at the right moment. It's a little bit harder, and she's, like, I'd say, easier to get CC'd. That Wukong's got his W now that he can stealth away. Aurelia doesn't have that. So that does show, even though Aurelia absolutely owned the 1v1, the Wukong effectively was more useful this game. He did more damage. He actually ended up being involved in way more kills. So not terrible, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. This may have been the first ever Challenger Spectate I did personally that wasn't like a big stomp, and also wasn't like completely highlighting the player that we're watching wasn't the star of the show. He wasn't like, oh, he's the carry, he got legendary on Wukong. No, he had an okay game, but he struggled a lot in the early game, but it did show that he can make a comeback, he can be useful later. And I think that's important also to show that a Challenger, crazy good Wukong one-trick is still going to have bad games, is still going to have bad early games, but at least he can salvage something in the game itself. But that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what more champions you want to see and all that good stuff. Remember, we will be doing more replays because of everything going on. It just helps me pump out content for you guys to make sure I can keep doing it with like a less stressful environment. You'll still get obviously live commentaries, and again, reminding people a new duo Smurf series is going to be starting. Just a bit of chill, a bit of synergy building for Twitch rivals. We're going to be starting, I think, recording that maybe tomorrow, so you should get that content starting maybe Monday or Tuesday, and yeah, that should be a bunch of fun. But that's going to be it. If you guys enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe, comment down below. See you guys next time. See you.